You reincarnated as an immune cell inside a human body. But the very first decision you made was to evolve yourself into a cancer cell,
Because you knew full well.
that only cancer cells can divide infinitely and possess immortality. You refused to be just an immune cell that lives only a few days. You wanted to use the infinite division of cancer cells to eventually take control of the host's brain and achieve rebirth in another sense. You were inside the stomach wall. You kept sending strong hunger signals to the body. Soon, red blood cells came as if they'd received an order. They kept delivering nutrients to you non-stop. As more and more red blood cells brought you nutrients, your size kept growing. You gathered enough biomass. Transform into a cancer cell. The system voice sounded, transform immediately. You chose without hesitation. In an instant, sharp spikes began to grow from your smooth, soft tissue. This change of yours terrified the nearby cells. They panicked and fled quickly. They planned to report your abnormality to the immune system. You were quick and sharp. You rushed in front of them. You stabbed your tentacles deep into those cells. You crazily sucked out all their nutrients. Then you used those nutrients to divide. Soon, 1 became 2. 2 became 4. Finally, you split into 16 clones. Now you led your clones to go expand your army, but you hadn't gone far when a group of police-like white blood cells surrounded you. Damn it, I haven't even gone to take over territory yet. How come the white blood cell army is here first? You cursed inwardly. One white blood cell immediately took out a speaker and shouted, "Cancer cell ahead. Freeze, based on reports. Your identity has been confirmed. Surrender now and give up." Hearing this, you trembled with rage. You roared, "Kill me! No way!" You quickly lashed out a long tentacle. It stabbed precisely into that white blood cell. In the blink of an eye, all the nutrients inside the white blood cell were completely drained. Seeing this, the other white blood cells immediately hid behind cover. Unit calling headquarters. Calling headquarters. This is Area B. The target is tough. Requesting backup. Repeat, target is tough. Requesting backup. Meanwhile, you attack the white blood cells wildly. Using their nutrients, you split into more clones. But the owner of this body had no idea about the brutal war inside him. This guy, who often stayed up late, was enjoying videos on his 800 GB hard drive. He commented from time to time, "This teacher is so pretty. This teacher has such a great figure. Wow, these legs. I could play with them for a year." He had no idea that inside his body, you were already fighting like crazy. You gathered all the cancer cells together and turned into a tumor. You stubbornly resisted the immune system's fierce attacks. At this moment, the 3 major legions of the immune system, killer T cells, white blood cells, and macrophages, took turns attacking. They bombarded you violently, but even so, they couldn't hurt you seriously. You hid inside the tumor and refused to come out. The cells thought you'd been destroyed. They quickly cleaned the battlefield and retreated. Just then, the system voice sounded again. Ding! You've mastered tumor transformation. Reward, evolution enhancement. Increased cell activity, improved drug resistance. System suggestion, pretend to be a gastric ulcer. Grow quietly. 5 days passed. While eating, the body's owner suddenly felt nauseous. He threw up everything he'd eaten. There were even foul-smelling chunks in it, but he didn't care. He thought it was just a mild stomach bug. Then, he lit a cigarette and kept eating. As he took in cigarettes and junk food, you inside his body felt an inexplicable thrill. Now you had occupied nearly 2 centimeters of his stomach. One of your clones ran to report. "Boss, bacteria are fighting us for territory. I didn't even go after them, and they came for us first. I'll kill them." With that, your consciousness instantly shifted to a frontline cancer cell. This was a new skill you'd learned these days. Right now, the cancer cells in E. coli were on the verge of war. The leader of E. coli stared. "Where did you cancer cells come from? This is our place. Get lost." Hearing this, you slammed your tentacle on the ground. Spit. "You're all like little tail draggers. Why aren't you staying in the intestines? Why come to my territory?" Just as the 2 sides were about to fight, several white blood cells rushed over. One stepped forward and pointed at you. "Heard you 2 want to fight? Are you ignoring me?" The security captain of Stomach Area B. Hearing this, you immediately raised your tentacle and whipped the white blood cell in the face. "So you're the captain. You're pretty arrogant." After being hit, the white blood cell lost all confidence. "Mr. Cancer Cell, please watch your mouth." Slap. You whipped him again. "You got a nerve, huh? Go ask around. Around here, who's the real boss?" With that, You whipped the white blood cell in front of the E. coli. Seeing this, the E. coli turned around, lashed out with its tail, and knocked the white blood cell back. After being beaten by you, the white blood cell ran away with its tail between its legs. You turned to the E. coli. You're not bad. Here's the deal. We count 3, 2, 1, then fight. Winner takes all. Fine, you count. Hearing this, you raised your tentacle and roared 3. Kill them all! With your order, your cancer cells charged at E. coli. After a few rounds, the E. coli were defeated completely. In the end, the E. coli leader asked unwillingly, "Why didn't you finish counting?" "I don't accept this." "You cheated." "Well, you know what they say? Villains never play fair, and cancer cells are no exception." After you absorbed the E. coli leader, the system popped up. Biomass from E. coli absorbed. Gene lock unlocked. Reward, 1 mutation evolution. In an instant, a tail grew behind you. You looked like a tadpole. Your speed increased greatly. 2 days later, you successfully expanded the tumor from 2 centimeters to 5 centimeters. Little did you know, this almost got you killed. You copied yourself wildly without fear. You thought grow bigger and stronger, make even greater progress. But the body's owner noticed something wrong. These days, he felt a dull pain in his stomach, so he went to the hospital for a checkup. The robot doctor told him he has an oval ulcer in his stomach, 5 centimeters in diameter. Tell him to cut down on spicy food these days. I've already given him some anti-inflammatory shots. After hearing this, he rode his hover scooter back to his apartment on the 180th floor. But when he got home, he grabbed a big bottle of happy soda. He totally ignored the doctor's advice. But the anti-inflammatory medicine in his body has already reached your position. You, completely unaware, are hugging a platelet and having a great time. Just then, a cancer cell runs up to you. "Boss, it's bad!" A weird monster suddenly appeared at our base. It's hunting us cancer cells. You panic and send your consciousness to the front line. You see a group of 3-eyed monsters slaughtering your men. Just then, the system pops up. Ding. Congratulations! You've successfully caught the human host's attention. As a welcome gift, he sends you super powerful anti-inflammatory medicine. While you're stunned, the Special Medicine Army has already attacked. Any harmful cell or cancer cell that gets touched even a little will die instantly. Your heart sinks when you see this. You immediately move your consciousness to the back and run for your life. Countless cancer cells behind you are wiped out by the medicine. Seeing this, you immediately order the other cells to block the way. You believe that as long as you survive, you'll have a chance to make a comeback. As the special medicine goes on a rampage among all the cancer cells now, only you manage to escape. But those maniacs are still chasing you. After a whole day of crazy running, you've actually traveled almost 3 centimeters inside the stomach. But in the end, the medicine still catches you. Just as the medicine is about to finish you off, you suddenly spot a new escape route. You seize the moment and dive right in. You force your way into the cell tissue. You frantically infect other cells, shifting positions one by one, until you hide inside a blood vessel. Malin's tentacles pierce the capillary wall. He reproduces the Malin family again. Brothers, let's have a meeting. Who's smart enough to give an idea? What should we do next? A new map, new opportunities. In more professional terms, this is called cancer metastasis. Now inside the capillaries of the stomach lining, Malin cuts off this capillary. He reproduces countless copies of himself and says to the cancer army, "Learn from the past. Avoid the same mistakes. Our last batch of brothers acted too recklessly, and they got targeted. Who has an idea? How should we lay low and grow?" The cancer cells born in the blood vessels are much smarter. They even answer before being called. Countless cancer cells are eager to try, all raising their tentacles to be the first to contribute. Seeing this, Malin feels very pleased. "You, the one with your hand up the highest, speak up and share your idea." "Reporting, boss. We should split up." Malin snaps. "Stop this crazy idea right now. Are you trying to take my position again?" "No, boss. I was just born 1 minute ago." "Why did you say again?" Malin coughs awkwardly, waves his tentacles, signaling the cancer cell. To continue, we spread out to every part of the body and grow separately. Even if one area is destroyed, we won't all die out easily. Malin slaps his round body excitedly. "I've decided. You are my genius strategist from now on. You're still alive. I knew I was right about you. The human brain is the safest place. You can invade it through the spinal blood vessels." Malin can't help but think to himself, the system is the system. It thinks what ordinary people can't. It's more scheming than anyone else. So Malin says to his brothers, his buddies and family, Some spread to the joints, some to the major organs. Don't act too recklessly, and kill the host. Okay, everyone, get to work. A few days later, Helen notices his body is getting better. His stomach no longer feels nauseous or queasy, so he stops thinking he's sick. The three great joys in life: promotion, getting rich, and recovering from illness. What makes him even happier is that his crush sends him a message. My boyfriend broke up with me. I'm so sad. Joy puts one in high spirits. Without any hesitation, Helen replies immediately, don't be sad. How about I take you out for something good? Then take me to the seaside restaurant. I love their silky red wine. 11 cider p.m., don't be late. Helen's eyes widen. Joy and embarrassment mix inside him. Not to mention the restaurant's prices. Just one bottle of that silky red wine costs half his living expenses. But as a loyal simp, he agrees without thinking twice. Meanwhile, inside his brain, Malin plans to take over his body. He says to his men, hey, you come here. Try invading his nervous system. The cancer cell slowly floats over, glances at the cells with nerve electricity, and immediately gets scared. Boss, several brothers have already been zapped senseless. I don't dare touch it. Malin says to the cancer cell, disappointed. Can you be any more useless? This is bioelectricity. What harm can it do? Ding! Your men in the large intestine caught a parasite. Do you want to eliminate and devour it for mutation points? Hearing this, Malin's consciousness instantly vanishes from the brain and rushes to the intestines. As soon as he arrives, he sees a huge roundworm. It's so big, he can't even see it all with his senses. He has to keep moving his position and use spatial perception to see the whole thing. It's like a giant snake lurking on a long arm. He can't see its head or tail at all. Malin can't help but shudder. He says to the nearby cancer cell, which brave warrior caught it? No one caught it. We just found it, the cell replies. Malin is speechless. The system is messing with him again. Ding! Parasite detected. Devour it immediately. Obtain biological genes, evolution points, and mutation points. Malin points his tentacle at the roundworm. Helpless, he says, there's no way we can fight this thing. We can't win. Don't be such a wimp. Take your men and invade its surface. Slowly infect all its inner tissue. Problem solved. Roundworms have one trait. Their skin is extremely thick. It's not affected by digestive juices. It's like their skin has natural armor. This really troubles Malin. He teleports next to the roundworm, infects the surrounding cells, gathers the Malin family, picks one spot, and keeps sending his men to attack that one area. Again and again. Thousands of his men, they gathered into cell tissue nearly 1 millimeter big. This whole process took almost half a day, and only then did they chew a hole open. After all, a roundworm is made of flesh. The instinctive pain made its body twitch violently. At that moment, Helen, who was rushing to the beach restaurant on his e-bike, suddenly grabbed his stomach in pain. It was around 9:30 p.m. He was way more than half an hour early. To pay for this meal, he maxed out his credit limit. He secretly sold his family's gold jewelry. Only then did he get enough money ready. Suddenly his stomach hurt even worse. It felt like a block of ice had dropped into his intestines, but that didn't slow him down at all. He twisted the throttle all the way. His speed hit nearly 200 kilometers per hour. He zoomed straight toward the beach restaurant. Because of the pain, he didn't notice the road ahead. By the time he realized, it was already too late. Clang! The hovering e-bike fell from the sky. Helen's body crashed straight into a hovering truck. Midnight, 12 o'clock, beachside hotel. A pretty girl and her boyfriend were waiting anxiously. They'd already been waiting forever. Still no one showed up to pay. The table was covered with leftover food. There was also an open bottle of fancy red wine. You lied to me. You said someone would pay for us. Look what time it is. The boy was furious. Calm down, baby. Just wait a little longer. That fool will be here any second. Fine. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Once the boy left, he never came back. The girl took a deep breath. She grabbed her bag. She was about to go to the bathroom too, when a robot waiter came over with the bill. It neatly blocked her way. Miss, please settle your bill. We're closing soon. Quit rushing me. Aren't you open until 3 a.m.? As the girl spoke, she stared at the empty seat where the boy had been. Her heart was a total mess. After all, she was just someone's simp too. We have night service and late night service. Please pay your bill. Move, I need to use the bathroom. Call the front desk. We have a customer trying to skip the bill at VIP table 1. The chief doctor of the city hospital's emergency department stepped out of the ward. He sighed as he looked at Helen's parents. The surgery went well. We kept his body alive, but his brain is dead. We extracted his old memories. Sir, you can... Helen's father stepped forward. He grabbed the doctor by the collar. Save it. My son is dead. Dead? Are you trying to put some robot or some cyborg in my son's place? The chief doctor took a deep breath. His mechanical left eye stared at the middle-aged man's face. He said respectfully, to be honest, sir, I'm glad you understand that. It's good you see it clearly. My condolences. From now on, this middle-aged man was no longer Helen's father. His son was dead. He held back his tears and said, then give me my son's body. Don't worry, we will preserve the boy's body, either by freezing or cremation, and send him home to you, the doctor said with a straight face. Helen's father looked decades older. His mother wiped her tears quietly beside him. The two walked with heavy steps, supporting each other. They left the hospital step by step. After they left, the doctor turned to the robot nurse beside him. Clone this boy's body, whether we cremate it or freeze it, then give the body to his parents. By now, Helen's body was badly damaged. Life support tubes were stuck in his mouth and nose. His body had become a research subject for the doctors, because inside him, there was a type of cancer cell the doctors had never seen before. The doctors named this new discovery Helen's cancer cells. Molen had no idea what was happening in the outside world. He was too tiny. He had no clue that his host, Helen, was now in a coma. In other words, a vegetable. Inside his own body, Molen and his little brothers were full of energy. They were fully focused on taking over the roundworm's body. The changes inside the intestines were being recorded the whole time. By the doctors using a high-powered microscope camera, he had become the doctor's test subject. On the hospital's big 3D screen, the cruel look of the cancer cells was fully exposed. A female parasite specialist covered her mouth. She said excitedly, "Oh my God, these cancer cells are so aggressively terrifying. Were they viruses in a past life?" Just then, an elderly man, with half his body replaced by machinery, walked in. He was the old dean who'd come on purpose. When the old dean saw the image on the screen, he rubbed his eyes. His voice was shocked. These cancer cells have extremely high research value. Our hospital can't keep him. We need to transfer him to a sealed, high-containment biology lab. The lead cancer specialist frowned deeply. Dean, you're overreacting. These are just cancer cells. They're not bacteria. They're not viruses. Cancer cells are just cancer cells. They're not contagious at all. The dean shook his head. He signaled the staff to scan the camera over Helen's body again. The scan results were absolutely shocking. Cancer cells were found in his brain, spine, joints, organs, even inside his toes. The dean said worriedly, "I understand how you feel, but these cancer cells are too mysterious. They've even spread into the boy's brain. Everyone, think about it. Aren't these cancer cells way too smart? And this boy is so young." I checked his records. His last physical was a year ago. That means in just 1 year. Everyone should know what I mean. I am the dean. This proves nothing. The cancer doctor's face turned red. My mind is made up. We will donate this boy's body to the biologist for free. Our hospital cannot keep these cancer cells. The doctor sighed, but secretly, in his heart, he made a decision to go against the dean. He planned to secretly take some of the cancer cells from Helen's body. Meanwhile, Molen was cheering on thousands of his tiny clones. He was hyping them up. Come on, boys, keep it up. The Molen clan rocks. The cancer cells below shouted in unison. The Molen clan rocks. The Molen clan rocks. The Molen clan rocks. Countless cancer cells charged into the roundworm. They cloned and devoured its tissue like crazy. In just a few seconds, the live roundworm was completely gone. All that was left was a mass of Molen's cancer cells. It happened so fast, because the roundworm was already broken down inside. Ding! Roundworm gene detected. Sufficient biomass acquired. Level up! New evolution unlocked. 2 evolution paths available. Whoa, that's awesome. What ability did the roundworm unlock? Reproductive ability. Skin reinforcement. Choose an evolution path below. Definitely skin enhancement. I'm all cancer cells. The cancer cells just need to replicate and divide. Low-level cancer cells can even lay eggs. Skin enhancement selected, upgrading in progress. Then all the final stage cancer cells started evolving at the exact same time. In less than 5 seconds, their cell membranes became much thicker. They now have a certain level of corrosion resistance and drug resistance, at least for now, against the special medicine that once worked. They're no longer helpless. Let me answer your last question. If you had chosen reproduction instead, the cancer cells could produce small cells that would slowly grow bigger. Morin was utterly speechless inside. Cells laying eggs. It was like opening a whole new world. so I could become a mom later. A proud cancer cell laying eggs. How am I supposed to face my ancestors? Won't the other bacteria laugh at me? While Morin was stunned, the doctor watching him cried out in shock again. How is this possible? All the cancer cells mutated at the exact same time. The roundworm they were attacking was instantly devoured by them. After the female doctor observing the parasite spoke, her face looked more horrified than if she'd seen a ghost. Right after she finished, the chief emergency surgeon controlled the high-powered transmission camera and scanner and quickly switched the view to the cancer cells in the brain. Everyone gasped in an instant. It was true. The cells mutated all at once in a short time. This means they're like a single scattered entity. As soon as those words came out, the genetic specialists present said in disbelief, "This defies biological common sense. There was no DNA exchange in such a short time. How could they mutate together at the same time?" I told you already. They're a single scattered entity. These aren't normal cancer cells. Are you kidding me? This is a living organism, not some quantum entanglement. Then how do you explain these cancer cells mutating at the same time? Let's just listen to the director. Treat this kid's body properly. Do a full disinfection and isolation. Then send him to the Microbiology Institute. Their lab safety is way better than ours. Only the cancer specialist fell silent, still unconvinced inside. But on the surface, he smiled and nodded, and helped the other doctors with disinfection. The moment the other doctors weren't looking, he took out a prepared scalpel, cut off the big toe, and secretly slipped it into his inner pocket, inside an ultra-safe biochemical research lab. This place is a 20x20 cube, 5 meters high. No vents. It uses internal air circulation. In other words, once the door is opened, it will never open again. There isn't even observation glass. Only high-power transmission cameras transmit everything happening inside to the outside. This lab is now named the Helen Cancer Cell Biology Research Lab. It uses the highest safety standard, Level 5S, a fully enclosed system. All work inside is done by semi-intelligent robots. Right now, on the central metal platform of the lab, lies a human body covered in life support tubes. 3 robots beside him are carrying out precise experiments. Basically, it's dissection research. And their research subject, the Morin cancer cell family, is growing stronger step by step for greater glory inside the duodenum. Countless Helicobacter pylori and cancer cells can't stand each other and choose to confront each other today. Morin brings his gang to seize territory again. Brothers, the guys we're fighting today are the Helicobacter pylori clan. For the honor of the Morin family, kill them all. As soon as he finished, countless Morin's cancer cells shouted and roared toward the Helicobacter pylori group. In an instant, the Helicobacter pylori with several tails charged forward as one. All this was recorded by scientists watching in secret. The bacteria are much smaller than the cancer cells. The power gap is huge. The brutality of the Morin family has already spread from the brain to the toes. Wherever they went, no one could stop them. No one dared to block them. But today, the Helicobacter pylori clan swore daily to protect the duodenum. In the middle of the battle, the cancer cells waved their tentacles. The moment they touched Helicobacter pylori, they sucked out all the others' nutrients, turning them into dead bacteria. As the fight went on, the number of Morin's cancer cells kept rising instead of falling. The more they fought, the more of them there were. Helicobacter pylori couldn't keep up with their division speed. Is there no law? Is there no justice? The Morin family is the law here now. This was a one-sided battle. In less than half an hour, in the middle of the duodenum, the Helicobacter pylori were completely wiped out. A few captives were stepped on by Morin's tentacles. You can kill me, but not humiliate me. Just kill me if you're gonna kill me. Helicobacter pylori shook its several tails behind and said angrily. Morin lifted a tentacle and whipped the Helicobacter pylori. So you're the mighty Helicobacter pylori. You're so damn noble. Talking about kill but not humiliate. Who's the boss of this duodenum now? Helicobacter pylori trembled with rage. You rule-breaking bastards. You rampage, kill, and loot everywhere, destroying the ecological balance here. You'll kill this human body sooner or later. Ding! Absorbed enough unknown biomass, gene lock unlocked. Reward, 1 evolution point. Whatever, I can't be bothered to ask. I've already evolved you. Your cancer cell activity has increased again. Morin used spatial perception to glance at his brothers behind him and didn't feel any difference. System, that's not right. I see those spiral bacteria have so many tails behind them. Why didn't you give us some? You idiot. There's a difference between evolution and mutation. Mutating into useless extra parts just becomes a burden. This bacteria says we're destroying the ecosystem and will kill the body. Is he joking? When the teacher told you to study in class, you just messed around instead. Helicobacter pylori is harmful, but also an essential bacteria for the human body. The body's feelings of hunger and fullness depend largely on them. Morin's round body shifted a little. He turned to the other cancer cells and said, "Brothers, Helicobacter pylori are totally good guys. I'm moving our base now to the large intestine to find any parasites causing trouble. Morin family awesome. Morin family awesome. Boss Morin. Awesome." After pumping himself up, Morin teleported, switched consciousness, and arrived in the large intestine. As soon as he got there, he saw tens of thousands of cancer cells, living a very comfortable life. One cancer cell was holding 2 red blood cells, greedily sucking what was inside them. It was adrenaline and dopamine delivered by the red blood cells. Morin hadn't checked on them these days, and they'd learned to enjoy life. They forced red blood cells to carry adrenaline and killed a few every day, hanging out in small groups, just chugging dopamine and adrenaline when we're free, like a bunch of junkies. When Morin saw this can't be happening. The Qing dynasty fell because of this crap. Can't let my men run wild. He whipped one of the cancer cells and shouted, "You bastard! I built this empire with the other guys. And look at you, all lazy and useless, living the easy life, daring to shoot up adrenaline behind my back." The whipped cancer cell immediately threw the red blood cell aside. "Boss, you're finally here. We've been waiting for you so long. We haven't eaten or slept these days." Morin whipped him again. "Cut the crap. I know what I'm like. Found any parasites lately?" The cancer cell wiggled its tentacles. "No, boss. It's been weird these days. Everything coming into the gut is super easy to digest." Morin sensed something, but was totally confused. He teleported straight to the stomach and almost exploded with anger. A bunch of cancer cells soaking in stomach acid, using tiny bacteria as volleyballs. Looking like they're on vacation, having a pool party. You little bastards. Stop playing. Any parasite eggs in the food these days? In the stomach. "Whoa, boss is here." Boss Morin rocks. Boss Morin rocks. Faced with all his cheering men, Morin shook his tentacles, signaling them to be quiet. "I'll ask again. Anything special about the food coming into the stomach these days?" "Nope, nothing. Everything that came in these days is just really easy to digest." Morin's heart skipped a beat, sensing something terrible was coming. He teleported again to the oral cancer cells. Compared to the lazy cancer cells elsewhere, the ones in the oral mucosa were well behaved, huddled together, as if frozen stiff. Morin also felt a bone-chilling cold, seeping into the cells from outside. "Brothers, has this guy not eaten meat these days? Why is there no reaction in his stomach at all?" "No, boss. From our initial observations, this guy hasn't opened his mouth to eat for days." Inside a hidden science lab, staring at the data on the screen, the biologist frowned deeply. He lifted his glass and took a small sip. He was the lead researcher on the Helen cancer cells. In charge of this experiment, he set the glass down and said to the staff beside him, "These cancer cells have evolved collectively again. We can now test if they're infectious." "Yes, sir." "Which test subject should we use? These cancer cells are highly aggressive toward parasites. Pick a lab rat with parasites in its brain and see if it can find them." "You mean, sir, you want to use these cancer cells to fight parasites in the future?" "Not necessarily. We first have to check if they're infectious. If the threat level is too high, they can only be used for military bioweapons." As a series of commands were entered, the robot inside the lab, from the one-way transport platform, took out a lab rat, then a laser shot from the robot's forehead, shaving all the fur off the rat. Next, it injected sedative into the rat to calm it down and placed it into the subject's mouth, basically shoving a hairless rat into a human's mouth. At the same time, Morin inside the oral mucosa also sensed something was wrong. Within his 2-centimeter sensory range, a huge mass of unknown flesh suddenly appeared. "Ding!" Rodent detected. "Is this organism an invader?" Morin thought to himself, "Oh no. Rodent. Basically a mouse or rat." Morin asked the system, "Wait, why is this guy's hobby so weird? Shoving a rat in his mouth." "I'm just a system. I'm not a human psychologist. What if he just likes doing this? Mind your own business." Hearing that, Morin thought it made perfect sense. It'd be a crime not to eat this free meat. Then Morin began to spread and infect along the oral mucosa until he touched the mouse's body surface. Without hesitation, he shot out his tentacles, and pierced into the mouse's skin cells. At the same time, the scientist in the lab shouted, "Now, take the infected subject. Lock it in a completely sealed chamber." The robot took out the hairless rat and placed it in a small glass box. Morin knew nothing about this. His sensory ability was limited. He kept infecting wildly through the skin cells, rebuilding the Morin clan inside the mouse. "Brothers, make sure this rat stays alive," while taking over all its organs. In an instant, all the cancer cells flowed through the blood vessels to the brain, internal organs, spine, and joints. In just 5 minutes, they had completely taken over the mouse's body. The eyes that had been spying on the cancer cells finally showed a look of horror. He trembled and said, "For the first time in history, infectious cancer cells. Their infection speed is even faster than the cold virus." A drop of cold sweat slid down the scientist's forehead. "Clone a human. Test on a human. And I want this clone to have a fully developed brain with thinking ability and emotional changes." The female assistant beside him bit her lip lightly. "Father, isn't this against humanity? Immoral, silly girl. The immorality of today paves the way for humanity's future." Meanwhile, Morin inside the mouse finally found a parasite. He'd searched all through the blood, organs, stomach, and intestines with no luck, but he saw one in the brain. This parasite was strange, hidden in the brain. Not very big, only half a centimeter. Morin could clearly see the parasite's structure. Pale and tender, pointed at the top, round at the bottom, just like a grain of rice. Brain fluke detected. "Morin, this is your chance. Haven't you always wanted to invade the nervous system? This brain fluke might just have the ability you need. Why are there no parasites in this rat's organs, but only in its brain? Why overthink it? If there's something, attack it. Kill it and take its genes. Get evolution points and mutation points. Isn't that awesome, dude? System, you're so bad, but I love it. Quit stalling. Take your men and kill that white maggot. Okay, Clan Morin, listen up. Kill that maggot. Boss Morin. Rocks at the order!" Countless cancer cells raced along the cerebral cortex, spreading and infecting wildly, until they reached the brain fluke. Morin took the lead, charging at the brain fluke first. Without another word, he plunged right in. In an instant, just like a drop of water falling on a calm lake, it sends out ripples. Except these ripples are all cancer cells. The bodily activity of a brain fluke is way weaker than that of roundworms. It can only let out a weak hiss and take one bite, sending an electric signal into a nerve cell. This electric signal can even wake a mouse that was knocked out by sedatives, waving its paws, twitching all over, struggling madly. The scientists watching in secret were stunned again. They took a deep breath, zoomed in the camera, stared without blinking, watching the cancer cells attack the brain fluke. Countless cancer cells multiplied wildly. A living, wriggling brain fluke only lasted less than 6 seconds. Its body burst open. All that came out was a pile of cancer cells. Ding. Sufficient unknown biomass detected. Reward: 3 mutation points. Awesome, awesome. What's the mutation path this time? I won't let you down. I picked it just for you. It's the neural infection mutation path. Evolve now. Wow, your cancer cells. All of a sudden, every cancer cell got a thick black shell over its membrane. This mutation took a full 30 minutes. When the black shell broke, the new cancer cells became even more bizarre. A transparent cell tentacle stretched out from the black shell. Inside this transparent tentacle, countless tiny lights moved around, shining brightly like a band of light. Once all the cancer cells finished mutating, Morin used spatial perception to scan all of them. He couldn't help but sigh. This mutation really raised the looks of my family by at least 8 levels. They're as beautiful as crystal-cast cancer cells. Morin was extremely excited. Through his mental link, he announced to all the cancer cells, "Brothers, our next target is to infect the brain and take over the host's body. The host is dead. Morin shall rise. Today is the day we take control forever." The host is dead. Morin shall rise. Today is the day we take control forever. The system mocked coldly. What a joke, acting like some cult leader. And you even used the wrong lines. You're just fooling yourself. Playing with yourself. Truly a master of self-delusion. Oh, don't be such a bore. Next, we infect human brains. Then spread from person to person. The whole world will belong to my Morin family. Dad, come quick. These cancer cells are changing. The female researcher pointed at the screen, exclaiming, "Call me sir during work." The scientist in charge of the experiment held a cup of coffee and his breakfast bread in his right hand, returned to his seat, surprised when he saw the changes on the screen. These cancer cells are gathering in the dead man's brain. What are they trying to do? On the high-definition screen, a cluster of cancer cells was ready to go. Morin led his followers, trying to take control of the brain. At the same time, he found the brain was very unusual. No electric signals were passing between neurons. Full of doubt, Morin asked the system, "What's wrong with this person? Why are the neurons in his brain like dead? How should I know? Maybe this guy turned into a vegetable." In a state of suspended animation, "I see, he probably died in an accident. No wonder lately. There's no food waste in the body. He might be lying in a hospital right now." As he spoke, Morin began using his tentacles to connect with the already suspended nerve cells. The process was extremely slow. He did it together with all his followers, exchanging electric signals. It only made Helen's finger twitch slightly. Crack. A broken cup can't hold flowing coffee. These cancer cells are trying to wake up the brain. "Do they want to take over this body?" the scientist said blankly. The researcher's eye twitched, incredulous. "Sir, you mean these cancer cells have a certain level of intelligence?" A weird smile crossed the scientist's lips, mixed with coldness, cruelty, and perversion. "I know what to do for the next experiment. Turn the clone into a female, and plant some memories into her. Make her think she's the test subject's girlfriend or lover. Dad, this violates scientific experiment standards." "Shut up. If these cancer cells successfully take over the brain, and they're intelligent. Can you imagine, child? If we control these cells, what incurable disease could possibly exist? This is a gift from heaven to humanity." Nearly half a month passed. The scientist in charge of the biological experiment received a huge grant. With the money, he rebuilt a more perfect lab environment. During this time, the lab stopped all interference with the cancer cells, letting them take over Helen's body freely. Meanwhile, the lab was disguised as a hospital ward, several times larger in area. There were robot nurses, a fake balcony, a clean white hospital bed. Everything was just like a normal ward, except it was still a Class 5S fully sealed lab. Everything was a man-made illusion. It was an extremely clever experiment. What the scientist wanted and what Morin wanted happened to align perfectly. The sudden recovery of a vegetative patient. Among this, the scientist added one variable, a cloned girl. Her name was Riel. On a peaceful morning, a gentle breeze blew. The girl's golden hair curled in the air, then fell slowly. Her name was Riel, a 19-year-old girl. Riel sat beside the bed, yawning, twirling her hair. Her clear eyes were as innocent as a child's. "Wake up soon, baby. I've been waiting for you for 2 years. Why won't you wake up?" Her words got no reaction from the patient. In the silence, she recalled happy memories. In her memories, there was a white beach. She walked barefoot on the sand. The waves sparkled brightly, and beside her, there was always an inseparable figure. But all of it faded like foam. Her beloved was now lying in bed. Just then, a robot nurse walked in. "Morning, Riel. Coming to see your boyfriend again today." "Miss Nurse." "Good morning." A weird smile appeared on the robot nurse's stiff face. She carried 2 big bags of nutrient solution, just like the past few days. Her job was to replace the nutrient solution. Riel blinked her big watery eyes and said, "Miss Nurse, thank you for taking care of him these 2 years. I really hope he wakes up today. It's okay, it's my job." This scene repeated for 3 days straight. The same conversation at the same time. Riel's memories were locked on this day. Every time she left the ward, the memories in her mind were erased. It was as if nothing had ever happened. Until today, Molen had finally learned how to control this body completely. He hadn't completely forgotten his memories as a human. Riel sensed something was wrong. She saw Helen's eyelids move with her own eyes. The air seemed to go quiet at that moment. Molen opened his eyes. Everything was blurry at first. Then his pupils began to focus. The white ceiling slowly came into clear view. Molen was overjoyed. He had finally taken full control of his brain today. That familiar feeling. The beating of his heart. The feeling of his arms. The contraction of his back with every breath. Before Molen could even laugh out loud, he found a tube stuck in his mouth. That wasn't all. A girl suddenly hugged him. Tears dripped onto his neck as she said, "Thank goodness. You're finally awake. I knew you'd wake up. I knew you'd wake up." Molen struggled to sit up in bed. It took him a long time to gain control. He grabbed the tube with his right hand. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't send strength to his arm. "Nurse, help." A mechanical nurse rushed into the room. She pulled the tube out of Molen's mouth. Blah, blah. Molen's eyes widened in shock. No matter what He couldn't control his mouth to speak full sentences. He turned his head casually and saw a girl still holding tightly onto his neck. Molen pushed the girl away. "You're choking me." Naturally, Riel couldn't understand what Molen was saying. Tears streamed down her cheeks. She wiped them away. Looking at Molen happily, she said, "Great. You're finally awake." Molen was confused. "What language are you speaking? Do you speak Chinese?" Meanwhile, in front of a large screen, hundreds of scientists cheered wildly. They even hugged each other in excitement. The credit goes to the leader of this biological experiment. His eyes were filled with tears. He said to all the scientists, "This is a small discovery, but it's a huge one in the entire history of humanity. This news will make the residents on the moon and the Mars colony cheer for us together. Riel, I'm afraid I have some sad news for you. Your boyfriend has lost all his memories in the accident." The mechanical nurse spoke calmly, but to Riel it was like a thunderbolt. Riel couldn't hold back her sadness. She collapsed onto the floor. Her joy from just moments ago faded instantly. Molen stared at them, completely confused. As soon as he opened his eyes, he saw something strange. A robot nurse and a beautiful girl. This is the future world. A light breeze blew in. Molen turned to look out the window. Skyscrapers rose from the ground. Flying vehicles passed by the window. Molen swallowed nervously. He really had come to the future world. Molen controlled his left hand and tried to lift the blanket. He immediately felt terrible. Both his legs were gone. He couldn't run away even if he wanted to. Riel took a deep breath. She said firmly, "It's okay, even if he forgets me. I won't forget him." 5 days passed in a blink. Molen kind of missed his days as a cell. The most annoying thing for him was that this girl taught him to speak every single day. Just like right now. Riel placed Molen's hand on her throat. She opened her mouth and taught him to say 2 simple sounds. Riel. Molen smiled faintly. He had ignored her for the past few days. But today he was interested. He copied Riel and said slowly. Riel's eyes lit up. She pointed at Molen and said, "Helen." Molen shook his head. "Molen." "Molen! Molen!" Riel smiled gently. "Beautiful like a blooming flower. From now on your name is Molen." Then Riel pointed at herself. Full of expectation. Molen hadn't planned to waste time with this silly girl, but he had no legs. He had nothing else to do. He took a deep breath and said, "Riel." As soon as he spoke, Riel threw herself at Molen and cried tears of joy. She rubbed her face against his body non-stop. Molen looked at the girl in his arms, and a smile appeared on his face without him realizing. Meanwhile, the scientist in control said, "The test subject has formed an emotional bond. He learned to speak in just 5 days. Begin the next phase of the experiment. Check emotional fluctuations. Send an assassin into the ward to kill Riel." Bang! The ward door was kicked open. An assassin held a high-energy particle gun. Without a word, he shot Riel in the chest. Then he turned and left. Molen stared blankly at the scene. The girl who was fine just moments ago had died in his arms. Blood stained the white sheets. "Riel! Riel! Riel!" Molen kept patting Riel's cheeks. The intense visual impact left him no time to think. Why was this bizarre thing happening? At that moment, several nurses rushed in from outside. They took Riel and left the ward. Inside the lab, good. The test subject has shown intense confusion. Confirmed that he has feelings for Riel. Next experiment, test his healing ability. Inject malignant bacteria and parasites into Riel's body. See if he can eliminate them. 3 days later, Riel was wheeled back in a wheelchair. Molen rubbed his eyes in disbelief. Riel looked terrible, like someone on the verge of death. Her face was sallow. She was skin and bones. After the mechanical nurse pushed Riel next to Molen, she turned and left. Now it was just the two of them in the room. "Don't be so sad. I'm going to die soon. I'm infected with a serious disease and parasites, but you'll live on safely." Riel forced a smile and said. Molen couldn't understand her language. He looked completely confused. "Ding! Molen! Your chance has come. This girl has powerful viruses inside her. I can save her. Why should I care if you save her or not? If you kill her, I'll even give you a reward. The germs in her body are perfect for cultivation right now. Hurry and capture them." Molen nodded. He raised his right hand and touched Riel's cheek. Then, countless of Molen's cancer cells rushed into Riel's body. They frantically destroyed all viruses, bacteria, and parasites. Riel felt as if she was being torn apart by 1,000 knives, but she still smiled faintly. The whole process lasted until late at night. At the end, Molen hardened his heart. He destroyed all of his own cancer cells inside Riel. "Ding! Awesome, Molen! You even kill your own cells. The system is starting to like you." This cleanup has earned you 65 evolution points and 31 mutation points. This girl is full of treasures inside. Finish her off quickly. There's a special first kill reward. I don't want to kill her. I think she's a good girl, a clone girl, and you call her a good girl. I can't tell if it's starting to evolve and mutate. She's a clone. You think you're gonna get lucky with girls. This girl's life cells are restricted. Her lifespan is weird too. It's only 1 day. She'll probably be gone tonight. And with you messing around like this, she should have died long ago. Molan looked at Riel. Everything these days lingered in his mind. He reached out and touched Riel's haggard cheek. Riel smiled. Molan choked up. I think I get it now. This whole thing is a scam, right? Riel nodded. With great effort, she made a heart with her hands on her chest. Riel died. Just then, several mechanical nurses rushed into the ward. They dragged Riel's body away like a dead dog. Dragged it out. Molan stared blankly at the scene. Then Molan rolled off the bed. Having no legs, he could only crawl painfully with his hands, crawling step by step toward Riel. When he crawled outside the ward, Molan broke down. A complete breakdown from the heart. He wished he had never had eyes. In the hallway outside the ward, countless Riels were lined up densely together. Molan understood. All these days, the Riel he was with every day was a different person. You can't even call them people. Memories are beautiful. Even fake memories are something to be grateful for. But after seeing the cruel reality, he couldn't help but break down. At that moment, the nearest Riel was awakened. She was a perfectly intact Riel. She walked over to Molan. Riel looked utterly confused. Suddenly, fake memories flooded into her brain. Thank you, Molan. You cured my illness. Do you know how to say like? You just need to... Molan lay on the ground. When he lifted his head, his eye sockets were empty. Blood gushed out like a spring. He gouged out both eyeballs. Molan laughed loudly. You dare play me? How dare you play me? I'll kill all of you. So you were fooled. I'm so sad. Heh heh. Cleanse the human pests. The world belongs to Molan. The hospital ward was fake. A fully enclosed lab was real. And in the metal hallway of this lab, there was a huge mass of mutated flesh. All parts of the clone Riel's body, now all turned into nourishment for Molan. Broken down, digested, devoured. Reformed into a giant tumor. Like a deadly web woven from flesh and blood. Countless fleshy tentacles. Stuck to the metal walls of the hallway. Like a moth waiting to break out of its cocoon. Or a flower bud waiting for dawn. It lay dormant quietly. Ding. Consume all evolution points and mutation points. Evolve into a life form with the highest attack power. And the fastest movement speed. I want to escape this place. Then you better work hard. I'll put all evolution points into cell activity. All mutation points into neuron mutation. I spent so many evolution and mutation points. Do I get any special abilities? Like summoning lightning or breathing fire? You're dreaming! Your current level is nothing. Go destroy more life forms. Collect more genes and biomass. I don't want to hurt innocent people. I just want to leave here. How can you think like that? I am the evolution and destruction system. My mission for you is to destroy life. Damn, system, you're so dark. I love it. Good. Know your place. Your goal is to destroy life. Bring peace to the world. On the other side, meanwhile, the lab staff weren't useless. They quickly raised the lab's security level. This time, they meant business. The lab never expected the cancer cells to riot. In their eyes, it was just a strange life form. It couldn't have high intelligence, even if it turned into a giant tumor, looking really tough to handle. No matter how unexpected it was, everything was still under their control. Inside the observation lab, interesting cancer cells. He wants to turn himself into a monster. Wow, that's really interesting. What the hell is this cell thinking? Why did he kill so many clones? I thought the clone Riel was nice to him. What a cold-blooded creature. Low-level creatures only act on survival instinct. Of course he's cold-blooded. But on the other hand, his speed at devouring flesh is amazing. It's almost beautiful in a way. Ha ha ha, same here. Look at that big lump of rotten flesh. If you look at it from an artistic angle, it's a work of art. Please, the poop my dog does at home is more artistic than this lump of rotten meat. Everyone, focus. The research report on pathogen Riel is out. The ability of this Helen cancer cell is beyond our imagination. Riel, all parasites and pathogens in her body have been eliminated. Nice, then this cancer cell might have great medical use in the future. I say lock it up in a zoo, or put it in a haunted house for tourists. Might work pretty well. The scientists in the lab chattered away, saying nonsense unrelated to their jobs. They treated it like a harmless pupa, not taking it seriously at all. Soon, security was in place. And right in front of everyone, Molin's giant tumor began to prepare to break out. The fleshy tumor started to contract, contracting and expanding faster and faster, beating like a heart. The fleshy veins stuck to the walls gradually withered. Crack! Crack! The nearly 6-meter-wide tumor broke like an eggshell. Among all the dead tumor cells, only the most essential part remained. When the hatched monsters fully appeared, not only were the lab scientists shocked, even Molin himself was stunned. Hatched with him were 5 other brothers, meaning 6 monsters in total. The 6 Molins stared at each other. At the same time, all 6 monsters said in unison, "Damn, you're fucking ugly." All 6 looked identical. Red and white fleshy skin, 1.9 meters tall, bone spurs sticking out all over, especially the mountain-like spines on their backs. They looked terrifying. Structurally, 2 legs, 2 arms, torso, head, just no mouth. They didn't need one for eating. Even creepier, 6 eyes on their faces, neatly arranged like a 6-dot mahjong tile, all with bright red pupils. Eyes like they were soaked in blood. Horrible. Overall, they looked like monsters from hell. Even Molin thought he was ugly after looking for too long. Ugly wasn't even the right word. Just terrifying. Stare too long and you'd have nightmares. He cleared his throat and said to his 5 brothers, "None of us look human. Introduce yourselves. I'm Molin. I'm your boss." "Got it, boss." "We already know that." "Let's start chanting. Morin, you lead. Boss Morin is awesome. Boss Morin is awesome. Rise up, Morin clan. Rise up, Morin clan." They communicate directly through telepathy. It's like talking to yourself inside your head, so the people in the lab have no idea why the 6 monsters are just standing there making random gestures. So the scientist in charge of this experiment began the first test. Deploying Mecha Guard number 1, armed with standard electromagnetic bullets. Bullet limit for this test, 30 rounds. Forget it. Let's do hand-to-hand combat for the first try. No weapons or bullets loaded. If Morin heard this, he would definitely be furious. This is a total insult to him and the Morin clan. At this moment, as usual, the Morin clan is having a meeting. This is just how Morin is. He uses his cell division ability, no need to find underlings. He can be his own underling. No need to worry about betrayal. Betrayal is impossible. Only he betrays his underlings. They can never betray him, Morin said to his 5 brothers. "You all know. Your boss. My feelings have been betrayed. I'm so frustrated right now. If I don't kill someone, I can't hold back this anger." The underling closest to Morin on his left said, "The boss had his heart broken. That means we lost our sister-in-law, which means the Morin clan has no mistress. So the boss will tell us to kidnap a new mistress." Morin immediately slapped him. "Where did you learn this nonsense? What we need to do now is escape and kill those bastards who played us." The meeting wasn't over yet when clanging footsteps came from the hallway. Morin turned and glanced. All 6 pupils shrank. The thing coming looked like the Terminator, unarmed and extremely muscular. Morin hesitated. "Is that a robot?" The one who got hit earlier, an underling stepped forward, pointed at the robot, and shouted, "My boss is asking you a question." "What's your name?" "Quit yelling. You don't even have a mouth. Who are you talking to?" "Boss, you just insulted yourself." Inside the lab, the robot was on the left, and 6 Morins on the right. Boss Morin stared at the robot. It was made of metal, but broad and strong. Its fists were bigger than sandbags. The more he looked, the stranger it felt. He stepped back unconsciously, hiding behind his underling. "The loudest one, I think it's here to fight us. Go kill it, right?" "Boss, there are 6 of us." "It's just one. Let's jump him together." Morin slapped his thigh. "Kid, I always knew you were promising. You even know how to gang up on people. But open your 6 eyes and look at it. It came alone. The Morin clan can't lose face. You go fight it one-on-one first. If you can't win, the rest of us will help you." The leading underling cracked his knuckles. He glanced back at the 5 determined figures behind him. His confidence surged. He rolled his shoulders. Without hesitation, he charged forward, extremely fast. Fast enough to set a new world record. In a track race. Fearless. Like a soldier going to his death. He boldly stood in front of the robot. Morin's underling raised his right fist and slammed it toward the robot's head. Bang! A head flew high into the air. Morin, along with his 4 underlings, all face-palmed. The Morin clan has this kind of idiot. What an embarrassment. The head flying through the air belonged to Morin's underling. It arced beautifully through the air, before slamming into the ground. Meanwhile, the robot on the left still had its fist raised in the air. Not only was Morin disappointed, but the lab crew was too. Suddenly the tide turned. The headless underling didn't fall, filled with rage like he was on steroids. From his left fist, a half-meter-long bone spike suddenly burst out. Slice. The robot's metal body became as fragile as paper, totally defenseless. The spike pierced straight through its body, stabbing all the way through. The fight wasn't over. Morin's underling grabbed the robot's neck with his right hand. His arm muscles bulged, veins standing out like vines. He pulled upward hard, rattle the robot's head, along with a bunch of wires below its neck, sparking and crackling, was torn right off. At the same time, the Moren clan and the scientists in the lab all started clapping. Morin turned around and said to his 5 underlings, "See? I told you this kid was promising. Always has been." Took down that metal hunk in just 2 moves. The robot's body, losing power, fell with a bang. The headless underling walked back coolly, picking up his own head along the way and reattaching it. The scientists who saw this gasped, This is the perfect life form I've been searching for. If we can control these cancer cells, human bodies can achieve immortality. Now send in the next test robot, armed with electromagnetic bullets. Limit 30 rounds. As soon as he finished, the underling who hadn't even gotten to brag froze. He heard clanging footsteps behind him. He turned, bang. His newly reattached head was blown apart instantly. Blood and flesh splattered everywhere. Chunks of flesh sprayed onto the ceiling. It wasn't over yet. The arriving robot pulled the trigger. The cylindrical electromagnetic gun spewed blue flames. Bullet after bullet rained down onto the underling's body. In an instant, the living body was blown to bits. Many bullets passed through and hit Morin in the chest, splattering more blood and flesh. The power of these bullets far exceeded Moren's imagination. In his mind, it was like a human cannon. It brought immense pressure instantly, plus the death of his underling. It hurt him like a knife to the heart. Morin covered his chest with his right hand, turned to his 4 underlings and cursed, "These damn bastards! They're using us as test subjects. Brothers, get out of here now. Split up! Do whatever you can to escape." The remaining 5 rushed into the ward at the same time. The flesh that had been blown to bits wriggled non-stop on the ground, trying to regenerate. But the process was extremely difficult. Flesh hit by electromagnetic bullets had its genetic chain shattered. In other words, anyone hit by these bullets could barely heal. Inside the ward, Morin spotted the window. He sprinted toward it and leaped. It slammed into the window with a bang. Like hitting the hardest steel plate, Morin was sent flying back. But the glass he hit was completely unharmed. This wasn't bulletproof glass at all. Behind the glass was a layer of alloy steel dozens of centimeters thick. Even the most secure banks in the world don't have this kind of protection. Morin panicked. He started frantically searching the ward. Even a ventilation duct would be good enough. If just one finger, or even a single cell could get out, he could make a comeback. But this S-class sealed lab wasn't just for show. He even climbed onto the ceiling. Still found no way out. A cold glint flashed in Moren's eyes. He did the opposite. Charged straight for the door. A robot with cold, emotionless eyes walked right at him, holding an electromagnetic gun. The second the robot pulled the trigger, bone spurs burst from Moren's right hand and stabbed straight into the robot with a crunch, grabbing the robot's head along with it. But his body was blown apart by 2 electromagnetic bullets. In an instant, Morin used his shadow shift consciousness and attached himself to another subordinate. He rushed to the door in a few steps. "This way, brothers." The other 3 of Moren's men quickly followed. The one who had been cut in half couldn't recover for a while. 4 figures came sprinting down the lab corridor. They hadn't run even 10 meters when 2 robots suddenly appeared, armed with even scarier electromagnetic weapons. Bung. 1 shot, 1 kill. 2 shots, instant death. This time, the robots were holding charged electromagnetic cannons. Both shots hit Moren at the same time, instantly tearing his body into powder. Genuine, complete powder. Only a blood mist remained. Not even a piece of flesh a millimeter big. Total, absolute death. Not a single cell left. Morin had no choice but to transfer his consciousness again into another subordinate. The charged electromagnetic cannon needed time to recharge. Morin didn't know that, but he couldn't care less right now. His legs tensed like coiled springs, and he rushed straight to the 2 robots. He grabbed both robots by the head. Bung. Tore their heads right off. The lab corridor, less than 50 meters long, felt endlessly long. He'd just taken out 2 robots, when something even more terrifying appeared ahead. It was another robot. The lab staff weren't stupid enough to use humans to carry uncontrollable cell viruses, and the weapon in this robot's hands was as terrifying as its shape, a square 50-centimeter diameter barrel, like a rectangular cylinder, firing real ionized plasma. The robot aimed and pulled the trigger. The weapon began to charge. Whoosh! A yellow plasma ball hit one of Moren's men. In less than a millisecond, the subordinate was reduced to a pile of black ash. After firing that shot, the robot dropped its weapon and walked casually toward Moren. A fierce cold light flashed in Moren's 6 eyes. He punched straight through the robot's body, ripped out all its circuits and parts, and threw them to the ground, like a drowning man. Grabbing at the last straw, he copied the robot, picked up the gun, and pulled the trigger. Nothing happened at all. Powerful weapons had limited ammo. Everything had been calculated. Trapped. Moren's eyes turned red. A sense of powerlessness weighed on him. Furious, he punched the ground, only leaving a shallow dent. At the same time, another robot appeared in the corridor. This one was different from the others. Its body structure was far more precise. Every move was flexible and natural. It held a shining, gleaming, 1-meter-long blade with no patterns. It walked slowly toward Moren, acting like a master swordsman. Boss Moren.
Awesome! I haven't known you long, boss!
But as your subordinate, I'm going in. Go, boss. As soon as he finished, the 2 remaining subordinates charged at the robot, ready to die. 2 cold flashes sliced through the air. Both were cleanly cut in half. That wasn't all. The robot's blade spun nonstop, at a speed no human could reach. Slash, 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 nearly 100 cuts in 2 seconds. In an instant, the 2 subordinates turned into chunks of flesh, falling to the ground, then gathered and chopped up again, over and over. Like chopping vegetables, Moren finally couldn't take it. His eyes bloodshot, he charged at the robot. When he reached the robot twisted its wrist. A cold flash. Moren's head was split in 2 instantly, but he still landed that punch, blowing a hole straight through the robot's chest. The fight seemed over. As the robot fell, a moment of silence fell. The scientists watching in secret cheered and clapped. Moren turned around, hands on the ground, attaching all the cancer cells on the floor to his body. He didn't move forward right away. Instead, walked step by step back to the ward. Along the way, he merged all the cancer cells into one. He stared at the bed for 3 seconds, then returned to the corridor. When he got back, his body was covered in cancer cells, disgusting like the bumps on a toad's back. He picked up the cold, shining blade from the floor and walked step by step toward the end of the corridor. There were countless rooms on both sides, but he didn't enter any. From time to time, unarmed robots would rush out. The robots didn't need weapons anymore. They were just toys playing along with him, letting him kill them. To vent his anger, the corridor was only about 100 meters long, but every step was agony. When he reached the end, Moren's body was torn and broken by the robot's fists. Now, only 5 nurse robots stood before him. Moren limped forward. No mercy at all, slashing off the heads of all 5 robots one by one. The 5 nurse robots fell. Behind them was bright light. A bright beam shone through the glass. Moren had finally reached the end of the corridor. Every step felt weak. He stood before the glass, looking down through the shining light. Hundreds of scientists gave him a thumbs up, clapping and shouting. Their smiles looked so sarcastic. I knew this monster could do it. Who bet against me just now? Pay up, you lost! Amazing. This monster is even smarter than I thought. It seems to have some human emotions. Don't be ridiculous. A monster is a monster. Push it hard enough, and it'll bite you. Creatures like this, even if you leave it alone, it'll still bite you. Next experiment? We can start trying to control it. Control its nutrient supply. If it doesn't obey, starve him for a few days first. If that doesn't work, discipline him with high-voltage electricity every few days. This time's experiment records will be enough to get the military to fund us. Not just the military. This can also be used medically. Once we control these cells, we'll definitely win the latest Science and Technology Progress Award. The hell are you so happy about? If anyone gets it, it'll be Commander Samir. What's it got to do with you? Bang! Moren stabbed the glass with a knife. Clink! The glass didn't move at all, but the blade, in an instant, snapped in 2. The broken blade fell onto the metal floor. A loud, clanging vibration echoed. Moren weakly raised his head. In the end, I'm still powerless. I can't even choose my own fate, just because I'm not human. From the very beginning, maybe since I first came into this world, I've been locked up in this lab. So after trying my hardest, I can't change anything. This is what it feels like. Ridiculous. The rest of my life will be spent in this lab with a bunch of bastards cutting me up for research. Morin punched the glass again. All the scientists turned to look at him, and in that instant, Morin used the blade to slash a deep gash across his own face. It looked like a mouth. Only this bloodied mouth looked cruel. While the scientists were stunned, Morin pressed the broken blade against his own neck. All the scientists below frowned. Anxious voices broke out. He's trying to kill himself. Impossible, right now! How can he act like a human? This kid was confirmed brain dead. These are definitely cancer cells. How could he do this? Relax, we can grind him into paste and it won't matter. The robots tested it earlier, right before Morin tried to end his own life. He roared through his newly cut throat and mouth. I don't want to be human. Crack! His head fell off. A column of blood shot out. His body began to disintegrate, finally turning into a pool of blood. The scientist in charge of the experiment panicked and said to all the staff at the console, "Find that monster. He can't be dead just like that. Scan everything. Even if one cell survives, it's enough. Sir, we've scanned 3 times already. There's not even a sign of bacterial life here." In an ordinary room, the place was filled with all kinds of research equipment. High-power transmission electron microscopes, petri dishes, beakers, tweezers, and so on. Everything you could ask for. During this time, the cancer specialist's after-hours task was to study the cancer cells. He clearly saw the cancer cells mutate again and again. During that time, he tried to awaken the activity of the cancer cells in a tow. But no matter what method he used, high-voltage shocks, nutrient attraction, he couldn't get those cancer cells to react. Until today, he took from a small freezer a half-rotten big toe. He held it in his hand, clasped it tightly with both hands, trying to use his body heat to wake the cancer cells. What's going on? Why have these cancer cells gone dormant? And for such a long time? The cancer specialist muttered to himself in confusion. Suddenly, a slight stinging pain came from his palm. He spread his hand and looked closely. It was already too late. His palm looked as if it had been burned by a red-hot iron. A large chunk of his palm skin had rotted away. This is an invasion. Immediately, his palm, visible to the naked eye, began to quickly, a layer of translucent cancer cells spread wildly up his arm, covering his entire body. Ah! Amid his screams, his arm fell off. His body collapsed like a landslide. Chunks of flesh fell to the ground. His bones crashed down. In just a few seconds, a living person turned into a pile of minced meat on the floor. Nice job. Morin finally killed a complete life. An intelligent life form. Handbrake mutation reward granted. Ha ha ha, I just don't get it. Why am I still alive? Looks like heaven won't let me die. What's the handbrake mutation reward? Random mutation enhancement. Chance to unlock special abilities. Hell yeah, mutate now. Right after that, the pile of minced meat on the ground began to reform. Half an hour later, the blood-red flesh cocoon began to dry and shrink. Crack! A 30-centimeter tall little monster crawled out. Still 2 small arms and legs. Different from last time. This time it had a mouth full of fangs, 2 pairs of small eyes between its brows, 2 pairs of big eyes in its sockets. Ding! This mutation enhancement is still cell activity. Increases the elasticity and flexibility of cells. Your cells can now store powerful kinetic energy, far surpassing all muscle cells in the world. Hearing this, Morin grinned. He stretched his body. His 2 little legs bent down, like a fully loaded spring. He jumped quickly, slammed into the ceiling, then fell back to the ground. Morin touched his forehead. Didn't hurt at all. He laughed. Awesome. Not even Tigger is this awesome. Of course, who do you think your system is? I assign you mutation and evolution points, along the most optimal route. We haven't found any good genes yet. Absorb some more biomass, and I'll reward you with 1 meter range spatial perception. Speaking of spatial perception, Morin got all fired up. It feels better than scanning with eyes. 1 meter is still too small. Gotta take it step by step, slow and steady. Then, Morin glanced around, looked out the window, and jumped hard. Crash. He smashed through the glass. This time mixed feelings, but he finally escaped successfully. Only the room was way too high up. Morin fell screaming from 100 meters high. Slap! He hit the ground and bounced twice. Morin's head was buzzing. His body was tough enough that a 100-meter fall didn't kill him. He looked up. This was the real future city. Neon lights flashing everywhere. Tall buildings towering. Almost no pedestrians on the ground. Most were flying in the sky. Morin knew nothing about this strange world. He'd experienced the lab's high-tech weapons. For now, he couldn't make a big scene. If he was targeted, being wiped out was only normal. Step by step, first spread all Morin cells around the world. Thinking of this, Morin made up his mind. He found a drain, squirmed like mud into the sewer. In the dark, damp sewer, 5 rats were gnawing on a lump of rotten meat floating by. Suddenly, the rotten meat burst open, shooting out more than a dozen tentacles, wrapping around the rats. Amid the squeaking of the rats, they were invaded and controlled. Molin said to the 5 rats in front of him, "Brothers, the Molin family is about to rise. Now split up, infect different sewer areas. During this time, don't let humans find you. If any of you is discovered, I'll kill you." Boss Molin. Awesome, go Molin family. With that, the 5 rats ran toward different areas. Ding, what the hell are you scared of? What's the point of staying here? Take it easy. We've already seen humans' weapons. It's not that I'm cowardly, it's just that they're way too strong. Then what do you plan to do? The job of expanding our territory. Leave it to the underlings. As the old saying goes, know your enemy and know yourself, and you'll win every war. Great heroes hide in the city. Small ones hide in the woods. Hey, you idiot! Stop spouting nonsense. Speak normally. What do you want? Molin grinned. This time, I plan to infiltrate humans as one of them. Learn their language, learn their level of technology, then let our family exist all over the world. You coward. Hey, your underling is pretty capable. He earned 20 evolution points already. I'm gonna unlock new genes. Damn. As expected of a rat underling. After Molin said that, a strange phantom appeared. At the spot where evolution points are collected, Molin the rat froze on the spot. Something like a dead log floated on the water. Hundreds of rats were attacking it wildly. It was a log-like creature. It opened its mouth, ready to fight to the death. But as soon as it opened its mouth, more rats poured into its mouth. Molin's eyes widened sharply. A crocodile in the sewer. I'll add your evolution points automatically from now on. The higher you evolve, the more points you need. Otherwise, the effect will get weaker and weaker. You got 3 mutation points this time. You can strengthen the bite force of your rats. Holy shit, this growth rate is insane. Even cheating in games isn't this fun. Start mutating now. Attention residents. According to reports, our city is facing a rat crisis. Most electrical wires have been chewed apart. Let's hear advice from experts. It's time for a rat extermination campaign. In the dark sewer, 3 staff members in fully sealed mechs arrived. The city hall is out of their minds. Just use some poison for those little rats. Why send us in here? After the leader spoke, he took out a can of liquid from behind, opened it and threw it into the sewer. Stop complaining. We're the Vanguard unit. After this man spoke, he took out a jar from behind. When the liquid had spread enough, he scooped up a jar of water, looked at the liquid inside. Radiation test, normal. I told you the city hall people are idiots. There's no pollution here at all. Suddenly rustling sounds came to their ears. Who's there? They shone their flashlights. Nothing was there. Dark waves moved in the murky water. Quit scaring yourselves. We just need to catch a few rats and report back. This is weird. We've walked halfway and haven't seen a single rat. Didn't they say there's a rat plague? Look, those glowing eyes. Looks like a rat. The 2 quickly turned around. A huge rat floated on the water, staring straight at the 3 of them. The leader took out a volatile bait from behind. This scented bait, no carbon-based creature, with a nose can resist it. Come here, come here. Come here. Come on, why bother with all this? Just shoot it dead. Take the body back and that's it. You think I don't wanna... The higher-up said we have to bring back at least 5 alive. This is so damn humiliating. Since when am I reduced to catching rats for others? Suddenly, the rat floating on the water sank down and vanished. God damn it! Rats can dive now? The man holding the scented bait punched the water hard. The atmosphere tensed up. Splash! Something's in the water. The 2 in front quickly turned around. The man behind them was gone without a trace. Third bro, quit fucking around. The water's not even up to your knees. How could you just disappear? Third bro, a human face surfaced, under the bright light. He shouted hoarsely, "Monster!" As soon as he spoke, his body sank again. Don't just stand there. Run! The 2 sprinted without looking back, until they reached an intersection in the sewer. The leader spoke urgently into his mic. HQ, do you copy? There's something in the sewer. Recon Unit 3 Kya, requesting backup. Our position is Sewer K12. Intersect A before he could finish. His body sank rapidly into the water. Only 1 man was left, panting heavily, his mind racing. Every thought told him death was coming. The sewer water was only knee-deep. Unbelievable. How the hell did the other 2 sink? The last man despaired. He took off his helmet, slammed it into the water, and roared. This is a joke. What kind of joke is this? Is this some kind of magic show? How could they just vanish like that? His voice echoed through the empty sewer. A long time passed. Calm returned to the sewer. Suddenly the man realized something. He took the bright light from his chest and shone it on the water. His gaze focused as the murky water. Gradually calmed, he saw something beneath the surface. Only then did he realize they were never standing. On the reinforced concrete floor of the sewer, beneath their feet was a living creature, flat like the ground, spreading throughout the entire sewer network. This was a floor made of flesh and blood vessels. Heh, heh, HQ, do you copy? Tell my wife I love her. His body plummeted downward, falling into an endless abyss, slamming hard onto the ground, a sweet taste in his throat. He spat out a mouthful of blood. When he came to his senses and saw everything around him, his world collapsed. The sewer had multiple levels. At the very bottom was a huge space for storing floodwater that couldn't be drained in time. But now, he felt like he'd fallen onto an alien world made of flesh and blood. This flesh was like a spider's web, twisted and complex. And on this web of flesh and blood are all kinds of weird creatures, with hideous faces, like monsters randomly stitched together by the creator, yet with a perfectly functioning system. There are hatcheries and glowing living cells. Even stranger, everything here is as complete as a city. Footsteps suddenly ring out. A monster nearly 2 meters tall, covered in bone spurs, with 6 eyes lifts him off the ground. Hey big guy, can you understand me? Monster! Monster! Monster crunch. Blood slides down the monster's arm. Molin punches right through his chest, then tosses the body down. At once, the corpse turns into nourishment for the nest. Wasting time. Looks like I need someone to teach me a foreign language. Better find someone with a strong stomach. Molin, I've got bad news. You've grown too fast. And now most of your men are suffering from famine. There's not enough food. You need to fix this fast. Molin touches the bone spurs on his head and replies with a bitter smile, You're my system. Aren't you supposed to help me? What do you want me to do? Uncle, you love holding meetings, right? Just call a meeting with the boys. Inside the monster nest of the Molin clan, Molin says to the 20 monster followers in front of him, Sorry, everyone. We've grown too fast. Our management can't keep up. We're running out of nutrients. We've cleaned out the sewers. There isn't even a fish left. I think we have to reduce our numbers. Molin recently found a right-hand man who looks just like him. A 6-eyed monster, too. Molin's right-hand man says to the other 19 members, Everyone got it. The boss wants us to lay off the useless ones. Kill off the weak members of the Molin clan. Yes, Boss Molin. Awesome! Molin waves for silence, then continues. Running out of biomass is one thing. The humans are here now. I'm sure they've found the Molin clan. So devour everything here. Move fast. In 1 hour, just the 20 of you will be enough. We're moving again. Yes, long live the Molin clan. Suddenly, boom. The ceiling is blown open. At the same time, dozens of ropes drop down. Hundreds of mechanical marines descend. Molin smirks. What's coming will come. Intruders detected. Take them out. The sewer battle is about to begin. This is a clash between advanced technology and primal life force. On this battlefield, everything changes in an instant. Danger lurks everywhere. At first, all is quiet. Inside this huge empty sewer, 15 mechanical rescue units arrive. They slide down the cables, stepping onto the sticky living carpet. Their electromagnetic guns aim at any threatening life forms. Compared to the weapons in the S-Class biolab, their gear is far inferior. After all, these robots are just city peacekeepers, not proper military units. In the shadows, Molin grins, revealing sharp fangs, and says to his 20 followers, I was once locked up and experimented on by these people. I'd rather not remember. Let's not talk about it. Now, let's test their strength. Send the rats to bite them. As soon as he finishes, swarms of rats hidden in the dark charge forward, like ants tearing into prey. Bang! Bang! This is a clash of flesh and electromagnetic bullets. Blood mist fills the air. The 15 mechanical peacekeepers huddle back to back. Through their mechanical eyes, they send all the information here to the surface forces. In the robots' emotionless eyes, countless rats surge toward them, shredding their metal armor. First encounter, the fight starts and ends fast, under the gunfire. These 15 mechanical peacekeepers only last 3 minutes before being chewed down to scrap metal. On the other side of the city, the surface peacekeeper commander takes a deep breath, his brows tightly furrowed. From this short fight, they realize a biocrisis is unfolding. The assistant beside him says, "Director, these rats seem normal, but the environment down there is too strange. It's like countless monsters are waiting to strike. Should we request an antimatter bomb from the military?" "Don't alert the military yet." "Shut up the media. Don't let this spread too far. It'll cause panic among citizens. Send in the elite unit, armed with Hellfire napalm. Burn these things." Soon, at the blown open hole, a new group of troops arrives. 20-round metal hover drones descend first. Fire bombs shoot from their weapons. In an instant, the huge underground cave blazes like a sea of fire. In a pipe somewhere within the fire, 21 monsters chat and laugh about the battle. "Look at these humans. They're so weak." "They're using fire. They're throwing us a barbecue celebration." Molin shakes his head and says to everyone, "Don't underestimate the enemy. This isn't even a real battle. We first need to understand how they respond to crises. When the fire wave passes, the monster nest is charred black. Then 40 armored troops drop from the sky. They open fire immediately. Guns blazing everywhere. Gunfire echoes through the entire underground network. 4 monsters beside Molin let out a terrifying, haunting sound, combined with the earlier firebombs. The mutated rat swarm is burned almost completely. Now larger monsters, the size of wild dogs, charge forward. In less than 5 minutes, the armored troops in the middle panic. It's just like monsters in a game. Endless, impossible to wipe out. Their sheer number terrifies the soldiers. Call for air support. Precision virus missile strike. "Everyone seal your suits. The armor virus is coming." "Boss, my armor's been bitten through. If we use the virus missile, I'll die. Thank you for your sacrifice for humanity. You will be buried with the flag." As soon as he finishes, a warhead falls from the sky, exploding midair. The green liquid inside turns to smoke. Spreading through the empty space, the air grows scorching. This is a mass murder weapon once activated. No living thing survives more than 10 minutes, but it's extremely effective. 6 armored troopers die instantly. At the same time, it covers all the bio-monsters of the Molin clan. "Ding! Ye obtained virus DNA!" Reward 3 evolution points. Trash virus. This system looks down on such a weak virus. In other words, this virus weapon is completely useless. It doesn't work at all. It only made the bioweapons of the Morin family go wild like they were on steroids, furious and restless, full of energy, even better than some superdrug. Amid the green mist, countless bioweapons lunged at the armored marines, like wolves among sheep, slaughtering everything alive. Seeing this, Morin couldn't hold back a laugh, turned to his men behind him and said, "Quit laughing. Stop treating this like a joke. Remember, this is just one of humanity's tactics. If they can't win, they call for backup. You still laughing? Cut it out. Learn to analyze when you lead your own troops later. Don't mess this up." After Morin spoke, he gave an order to the monster lair below. "Merge together. Let's see humans fight for real." The Morin family saw this war purely as an experiment. They planned to send in all their troops anyway. And now humans were walking right into it, letting Morin study their tactics and learn their response speed. It was a gift from heaven, but the other side thought differently. The commander in charge of the operation frowned deeply, took a deep breath, turned to the staff beside him and said, "Creatures immune to the virus. What in the world are they? We can't let these monsters reach the surface." Meanwhile, hovering in midair, a drone captured a horrifying scene. The mangled flesh on the ground, and countless hideous, ugly bioweapons, merged into one single life form. What's happening? The monsters are combining. A cold glint flashed in the commander's eyes. He requested a small antimatter bomb strike from the military. Inside the sewer, splash! A 20-meter-tall bioweapon stood up with a crash, shaped like King Kong from the movies. Ripped with explosive muscle, it beat its chest and roared to the sky. After roaring, it saluted toward Morin. Morin stood straight, raised his hand and saluted back. "Brothers, open your eyes and watch carefully. Humans are going all out." A triangular bomb, dozens of centimeters wide, hovered in front of the monster. Bang! Blood and flesh exploded. Gone. Just like that. Vaporized instantly. The bioweapon was gone. It had only appeared less than 3 minutes, and it was already gone. In physics terms, that's sublimation. Morin nodded excitedly. "Amazing, awesome. What are you staring for?" "Clap, boss! I think I just got blinded." "Me too, boss." Morin coughed dryly. "You gotta learn to adapt. I told you to watch with your eyes open. I never said you couldn't close them. Inside a luxurious mansion late at night, Morin walked out of the bathroom, holding a bottle of toilet cleaner. He searched for beer but found none, and decided wine wasn't half as good as this stuff. In the mansion's living room, a family of 5 was tied up with Morin's cancer cells, completely wrapped up, tight like Zongzi. An hour earlier, the family had been sleeping peacefully, husband and wife cuddling in the bedroom. Then 21 monsters suddenly broke in. These monsters weren't here to deliver Christmas gifts. They tied them up without a word. Worse than having hot pot and singing then getting ruined. It was totally unfair. Morin took a big gulp of toilet cleaner, burped, staggered over to the 5. As you can see, my men and I may have been a little rude. I don't want any disagreements between us. We don't speak the same language, but I'll give you a chance. As he finished, the other monsters roaming the mansion gathered around. One of Morin's men, wearing a pink thong on his head, pointed at the family of 5 and said, "Our boss is asking you a question. How dare you ignore him?" The family was freaking out. They didn't understand the language at all, and the house was full of terrifying-looking monsters.
Seriously?
Just look at their eyes. Each had at least 4. How could they not be scared? The head of the family wet himself. Morin rubbed his nose with a claw. A stench filled the air. He slapped the thong-wearing subordinate on the head. "You scared them. They're the hosts. We're the guests. Is that how guests behave?" "Sorry, boss." Morin chugged another big mouthful of toilet cleaner. "I'm a fair man. I'll ask you a question. Answer it. And you live?" Morin finished the whole bottle, bent down in front of them, held up one finger on his left hand, one on his right, and said, "Sir, we'll start with you. What's 1 plus 1? The father was terrified. He couldn't understand a word. His face was full of fear. Morin complained, "This guy can't even do 1 plus 1. Which one of you has a good appetite and doesn't mind eating an idiot? Step up and eat him." As soon as he spoke, one of Morin's men rushed forward, grabbed the middle-aged man. The other 4 were a young girl, a little boy, their mother, and an elderly butler. Morin gestured for them to be quiet, then looked at the blonde woman. "Ma'am, would you share my bed?" Morin looked disgusted and said to his men, "She's a lady. Be gentle with her." The remaining 3 didn't even dare scream. The butler died of fright on the spot. Morin pointed at the butler's body. An old man in the house is like a treasure. We respect the old and love the young, just like with an old chicken. Who can cook soup? 2 subordinates immediately charged over, eagerly dragged the butler to the kitchen. Morin looked at the terrified blonde girl, a trace of memory in his eyes. He felt a little sorry and said to his men, "She's a good girl. Take her to the corner. Make it quick. Don't let me watch. I'm a monster. But I can't stand seeing girls cry." With that order, 6 more of Morin's men came over, surprisingly gentle, carried the girl to the room. Then screams like a slaughtered pig came from inside. Only the little boy was left. Morin touched the boy's face, then held up one finger on each hand. "What's 1 plus 1? Take your time. Uncle will give you plenty of time to think." The boy seemed to understand. Trembling, held up 2 fingers. Morin gasped, gently stroked the boy's head. "I keep my promise. I won't kill you." Next, someone else asked him a question. Just then, the subordinate with the thong on his head. "Here he comes, all smiles. You're so smart, kid. What's 999 times 99? Snap! The little boy's head is gone. Family's most important thing is staying together. Now we're really all together." Morin sat back on the sofa, looking at this futuristic villa. An emptiness welled up in his heart. He pulled a broken mirror from behind his back. He'd torn it off in the bathroom. His blood-red eyes, staring at 6 blood-red eyes in the mirror. 12 eyes locked together. Morin muttered, "So many eyes. Is it really just to see more clearly? Ding, why waste time like this? Killing 5 people is no big deal. Stop binding yourself with human morals. If you can't even be a proper monster, do you deserve all your underlings?" Morin smiled faintly. "You're right, give me some advice. Growing too big isn't a good idea either. It'll not only draw human attention, but also make your underlings malnourished. That's not necessary. I didn't come to give you advice. If you have problems, just hold a meeting. I think your meeting idea is pretty good. Now, you need to collect some special magical life forms. I suggest you look for insects. After absorbing the genes inside insects, you can get a huge power boost." Morin nodded. A meeting was held by the Morin family in the living room. Morin sat upright on the sofa. His 20 loyal underlings knelt obediently on the ground. Morin took a deep breath. He said, Tonight's human cleanup operation in the sewers. You all know, if we really fight, our strength is nowhere near enough. So I want you to spread to every corner of the world. Each build up the Moren family's power. You all know, our abilities and memories are all connected. All of you put some effort into learning. Human languages. It'll be convenient for all of us later. Just make sure of one thing. Don't draw too much human attention.
Boss, I don't want to leave you.
Boss, me too. Morin punched the sofa. The soft sofa split in half from the punch. The interests of the Moren family come above all else. I'll choose two to assist me. Wulong and Fengchu stay. The rest of you, fend for yourselves. If you're caught by humans, either end your own life, or I'll do it.